Hello, everyone, and welcome to Club Live here on Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. I am live on YouTube tonight, and yes, it is me, myself, and I. The lads have got other things on, unfortunately, tonight, so still thought I'd come on, pass my opinion on things last night, and also everybody in the chat, please get your questions in, and I'll sit and get through as many as I possibly can. So, yes, I am Scott Carney, and obviously that's the day after, the night before. And for those watching, you will see that I'm in a different location tonight. It's a new area I am trialling within the house. So if you hear a little bit of background noise, this is very much work in progress. So I do apologise, but I will do my best to make sure there is no disruption to this going forward. But yes, hello chat. It's good to see you all. I hope you're all okay. I hope you all had a good Christmas. Obviously, probably a bit downbeat after your Boxing Day misery that Rangers like to do to you from time to time, bring you back down to earth with a bit of a clatter. So, but like I say, get your questions in the chat, everybody, and I'll get through as many as I can, and I'll stay on as long as I feasibly can as well. I know it's Club Live on a Friday, and unfortunately, just with the way things are happening just now, the availability wasn't great for people. So it's just, as I say, just me. So I thought I'd still come on, touch base, make sure everybody's okay, and we'll just get through as many kind of questions as we can. But it's good to see everybody. So we'll start with the aftermath, I suppose, of last night. Obviously, Rangers going down 2-1 to St Mirren and Paisley, and what was a poor performance all in. I've not seen many give any sort of form of pass marks apart from a blip in the second half performance that we got. Apart from that, it was more of what we had seen in the kind of start of this season, and there is absolutely zero doubts that the continuation of our poor away form is rolling on and on and on now. And it's not a nice place to be, and not a nice place to find ourselves. And we feel as a Rangers fan, or myself as a Rangers fan, kind of feeling myself scratching my head, wondering why have we ended up back here? Why have we regressed again after the kind of positives that we had seen? A difficult one to try and kind of piece together, but not one that was unexpected. I don't think many Rangers fans can say that they didn't think that Rangers had this in them. We've seen it previously with Rangers in terms of going away to fixtures that they should be winning. Let's not lie. Rangers should be going to Paisley, and we should be winning that and putting in a better performance than what we did. But ultimately, it was a last minute goal, and a well taken goal at that, and credit to where it is due, just so I don't get that comment a million times like I did after last night. I gave St Mirren credit, but people don't like to hear it. St Mirren deserved it because they didn't give up. They took their chances. They were more ruthless with their chances on the night. They didn't have many, but the ones that they got, they scored. And if that's not a warning sign to us, I suppose, about our attacking threat or about our attacking intent that we have within the team, then I don't know what is. I think a lot of it can come down to quality, yes, in terms of the fact that Rangers won't take their chances, but it also comes down to the fact of we still look uncoached at times. That first half we were just passengers. Rangers were not even out of first gear. We were very much not even going through the motions, I would say. It was just very slow, no intent, no tempo, and another performance where you're left scratching your head and waiting for that reaction in the second half, which again is frustrating. It's very frustrating to watch, and I think all of us, after about 10 or 15 minutes after watching the first half last night, would have went, I've seen this before, because we have. There doesn't seem to be a great change in it. I've seen obviously the reports of Clermont saying about what team Clermont chose to start with, and I completely understand. Whether I agree or disagree with it's kind of irrelevant at this stage, but I understand that Raskin could maybe is a booking away from missing the old firm. Clermont's a guy that has said constantly that we shouldn't look ahead to many games. It's all about the next game. Yeah, he's looking ahead to the other games. We're at a stage with this current squad that we don't have enough players, enough quality within the team to be able to afford rotations against an away trip to St Mirren for a team that's going to be determined, a team that's going to be up for it. right now, if a team are determined against us, we struggle, especially away. We really struggle with it domestically. We struggle to put up with a team that's coming to give their all, no matter what people say about us as a club. Us as a fan base know that every time Rangers are in town, it's the biggest ticket in town, and we're everybody's cup final. That's not going to change. It's always going to stay that way. And I don't believe that there's enough players within the team that are fully understand that these teams aren't going to give you a second. They're not going to give you a minute. They're not going to give you any sort of leeway in the game at all. You're going to have to earn it, especially when you're travelling away. And that's something that consistently over this season that we've not seen. So look, Clement, as I say, decided not to start Raskin, not to start Danilo, to make changes that was. I don't think they're required. I understand we've got a lot of games coming up, but as I have just said, we have to play our best players at every point because our squad depth and our squad quality is not good enough. It's not good enough to be able to look at these games and maybe think that it's an easier tie or it's a game that we can rotate in. I'm not for that. We'll deal with every game as it comes, and I think that's the way that we should approach it. Clement made a mistake last night in starting the way that he did. Starting with the team that he did, and the first half was just a kind of null and void performance from Rangers. There was nothing in it. It took us 41 minutes to get a shot on target, and at that, it was a lame effort for Megaman. So it's not acceptable to be able to do that, and it's not sustainable, or it's not going to bring you consistent results. It really isn't, because we can't just show up for 30 minutes in a game and hope that's enough. If we show up for the first 30 minutes in the game and we've scored 4 goals, then yes, but this Rangers team don't do that. And they haven't been doing that, especially away from home. So yeah, just a crazy decision in my eyes. And I know in hindsight it's an easy thing to say, because if he'd have played Raskin and Raskin got booked, you would be thinking, why did he play Raskin when he was it'd have been a stick to beat him with, because of why did they play Raskin if he was close to suspension. I get it's a double-edged sword, I really do. However, you still have to play your best players with the squad that we have. They have to play. Your informed players have to play. We can't be shoehorning players in just for a rotation's sake, in my opinion. You just have to play whoever's fit and available. If they've only got 60 minutes, then get them on for 60 minutes and make sure the game's out of sight by the time you need to make changes. I think that's the approach that we need to take. And I don't think Clement is taking that. I don't think he is. We also seen, obviously, in the first half, we've seen a crazy. Obviously, everybody in the chat, I do completely understand that you're all having a chat and putting comments in. When I'm myself, it is a bit difficult to put up everybody's comments, but bear with me. I will come back to them. I promise I will come back to them. But we also seen a crazy decision from Jack Butland, and a lot of people will bring up that they think that Jack Butland's not been particularly great this season. I think there's something in that. Don't get me wrong, I don't think he's been what we have seen. However, the whole team have been really poor, and I don't think he's got much confidence. Again, I'm putting words in his mouth, and maybe I'm being a wee bit of a Butland fanboy and thinking that giving him a benefit of the doubt to an extent, but maybe he's not confident in what he has in front of him. I mean, Robin Proper as well, I suppose I'll probably come to him, but the decision Butland made to go rushing out the way he did to wipe out the St Mirren player is madness. It really is madness. It was just a moment, and even before that, we should do better with defending the ball. It's a long ball up over the top, and that seemed to cause Rangers bother all night last night. And yeah, Butland, when you see the replay from the one at the side of the pitch, he kind of goes, stops, and then goes again, and by that point it's too late, and he completely clears out his man. It's just a madness decision. It's a rush of blood to the head, and I honestly don't know what he was thinking, but it gave St Mirren the lead at the half. Obviously, I think at half time, Clement realised that he was going to need to make a change. But before I come to the second half, I don't know what you all think about this, but I think it's worrying that Clement gets very little response from the players during a half. So if he is not happy with what he's seen, which he's come out and said that he wasn't happy with what he's seen in that first half, there's no message seems to get transmitted onto the pitch to the players. There doesn't seem to be a change in attitude. There doesn't be a change in approach, a change of shape, change of anything. That is, okay, we're going to be poor for this half. Let's wait till half time and then make changes. That's a real concern for me. Is that the players going, I'm not listening to him? Is that the players taking things into their own hands. I know the players have to take a certain element of responsibility for not being up for it, for not being on the front foot, for not giving themselves a shake a little bit and putting their best foot forward and getting on with it. But again, it's because of, I think, who he's playing. We're putting players into the team that we're not sure what form that they're in. We're not sure how they're getting on. We're not sure what they're going to do. Whereas we were building during the purple patch, if you like, the purple patch that we've all spoke about. During then, we were playing players consistently, like Raskin, who's really built himself into the team, really become one of our starters. He's a big part of that. Danilo and Igaman, we've looked most attacking when they two have been on the pitch together. There is no ends and no ends about that. That's exactly the way it has been. We're not good enough quality wise up front to not have two strikers, if you like, because I know Igaman, he's a 9 and he's not a 9 because he likes to drift, whereas Danilo is very much a 9. He's the guy that will always be in between the sticks up front and cause that little bit of chaos for defenders. But we're not good enough just to go with one guy up the top, and the whole time under Dessers was proof of that. So it's like Common has nearly stumbled onto something that worked, then something did start to work, and then he went, I'm going to stop doing that just for rotation's sake. And that to me is red flags. That to me is absolutely red flags. But anyway, second half, we make the change where we make two changes. Danilo and Raskin come on. Barron, again, I just didn't think he was really in the game at all. I thought he grew into it a little bit. At the start, he looked kind of frantic, really. Really gave the ball away too many times. A few decent passes after watching the game back this morning. A few decent passes, but ultimately he wasn't having the same impact that Raskin does, and you can see very much why that Raskin is that anchor for us just now. I think it was made pretty obvious, and Bajrami coming off. And again, interested to hear what everybody's thoughts are on this, and I will come to some of your comments regarding it. Where are you all at with Bajrami? What's your thinking on that? For me, he's not kicked a ball for Rangers for months, and if anything, he's not really even hit not the heights that I was expecting, but the kind of expectation that he came with. You were maybe thinking that you would see a little bit more by this point with under him. I don't know whether he's been swapped on the left too much. He's getting moved into the 10 at times. He's kind of switching between him and Hadji, or maybe he's under pressure for thinking that he's not going to be a regular starter or whatever it may be. But for me, I don't fancy him just now. I really don't fancy him just now. He wouldn't be on my team sheet. And the sniper has made a very good point that Bajrami went missing as soon as Gogic took him out yesterday. Gogic did, yeah, but that's what he's going to do, isn't it? That's exactly what he is. He is the definition of a hammer throw. He always has been and he always will be. And that's what you're going to. You have to react to that. You have to react in a positive way when somebody tries to take you out. Maybe because I was brought up in Scotland, but if somebody try to lay one on you, the next thing you would want to do is, one, either try and get them back, which is usually what you try to do, or two, you score, or you beat the man, or you do something, you make him feel like the fool, you react, you let him know that he's not affected you. Whereas we've got too many players that as soon as the tough gets going, they just kind of recluse into themselves. It doesn't really come off for them. But Bajrami, for me, there's just nothing coming from the guy just now. He's one of the guys that we would look to as an attacking threat to show a bit of quality, that we all got told, and we all got told that he was the guy that would have this ability to unlock defences with the passes, the movement, whatever. But we're not seeing it just now. We're not really getting anything. We're not really getting anything from it. And I think right now, with the likes of Cortez being on the bench, who we've still not seen again, and you're like, we're crying out, I think, for a winger. In a game like last night, I think we are crying out for a winger to come on and get by the man, get to the byline, get the ball into the box against a team that we're always going to be pretty sturdy in defence. But you cannot say that St Mirren just sat in. Maybe for the first period and the kind of second half, I thought they did, because we looked better. We looked like we had intent. We upped the tempo for about 20-25 minutes. We got ourselves back in the game, and that's where St Mirren are really under the cosh at that point. But they didn't do it for the entire game. They didn't do it in the first half, especially. And for me, we need to get better. We need to get better attacking wise. it's frustrating as a Rangers fan because we've seen what they can do, and then we're back to what they used to do. So I just feel like we're a team now that's just going to be full of peaks and troughs. We'll probably have spells within the season where we'll have 2, 3, 4 games maybe where we'll do okay, and then you'll have 2, 3, 4, 5 games where it all falls away again, and we're back to having this conversation that we're having right now. So yeah, I'm pretty honest. You just said I had concerns about Bajrami. I remember seeing a poor body language from him one game, showing very little interest. He's a couple of magic moments, but that's been it. Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. And just now we're really not getting anything from it. Justin Muir's also said the gaffer has lost the dressing room, plain and simple. Bajrami is not Rangers standards, and that goes for a lot of them, and it definitely does. Linda makes a comment: Bajrami and Proper are awful. Like as well, obviously we spoke to Bajrami. Obviously, we had to bring Robin Proper on in the first half due to an injury to Balogun. The manager has said today that the fears of how bad it was are hopefully not going to be that. It's going to be less serious than they thought. But Robin Proper, I said it last night, not for me. Just not for me. It's a shocking signing. That guy has not got anything that we need from him to be a commanding centre half in Scotland. He's no better than Ben Davies, in my opinion. Or what I've seen of him so far, anyway, doesn't make me think that he's better than Ben Davies. And I didn't think Ben Davies was very good. So that kind of tells you where I am at with him. I think he dilly-dallies on the ball. I think he gets lost in possession on the ball. I think as soon as St Mirren put on a physical forward, which they did, they targeted him, and rightly so, because he does not like it. He hates any sort of physicality from strikers against him, and I hate to tell him, but Scotland is full of that, and it's going to be constantly like that again, especially going away from home. They will put their big guy on, they will target your weakest centre half because that's what they do. And look, that's just football. I'm not for any minute criticising that they do it, because we have to adapt to that. It's not up to them to play the football that we want them to play. It's up to us to play the football that we want to play, and we need the players in order to do that. Proper for me, I would be seriously considering trying to get him out the door in January and recruiting again. We're in a bit of a sticky situation right now at centre half. Obviously, Casemiro being out, John Souttar getting his injury. Again, you get the fear with John Souttar because he's had previous. And look, I'm not criticising Souttar. He got injured in a freak accident. I don't think you can really blame the guy. However, it's injury proneness, and it's something that we have at the club. And always seem to have at the club. It's a thing that constantly happens with Rangers. But the situation at centre half is we have Sterling and Proper. What it looks like would be for Sunday. I wouldn't imagine that the Balogun would be risked, even if he was fit enough or deemed fit enough to play on Sunday. I don't see that happening. And for me, Sterling is a better centre half than Proper, but I don't think Sterling is a centre half. I think the guy he's getting used in every sort of position apart from one that he probably wants to play in. I think Sterling's quite happy to play because he wants to play football and he wants to do the best for the team, and I do genuinely believe that. But I don't think centre half is where I want to be seeing him, and especially going into an old firm. It's not ideal. So yeah, it's an area that we're going to need to really strengthen, and everybody knows now that we are going to be looking for a centre half or two, possibly centre halves now. You'd imagine two centre halves going into the January window, and I think it's crucial that we get that recruitment right. And as I say, with Robin Proper, it would be I'd be getting rid of him. I really would. I'd be doing anything to try and get the guy out the door. So yeah, as I say, in the second half, Rangers did manage to get that goal with Danilo scoring again, kind of showcasing why he should have started the game. But the concerning bit for me was after we scored as well. Rangers, I don't think we'd kind of took the foot off the gas, but we just kind of lose our way. We just kind of lose that momentum that we'd built up. It's like we scored and then it's like, okay, reset and start again, instead of just putting the foot to the floor and getting that second goal. After that, I say we did make changes in the as I say, with the change that St Mirren made and put a physical centre forward up, they started to win the ball up the pitch a lot more often, and they were growing into the game. And the goal itself is just a disaster. It really is. Sterling gets caught out. We've got three players running towards the ball. Tierney makes a lame attempt to get it. It's cut back proper. He's on the right side of his man, yes, but he's nowhere near him to make the tackle. He's got enough time to take a touch and then lay it back to the onrushing St Mirren player who buries it into the bottom corner, and that's also wrote with the game. And then we're left with the aftermath of it now. We are now 12 points behind. Worse off than where we were at before Celtic dropped points. And I'm not saying that Rangers were in a title race, by the way, before anybody jumps in and jumps down my throat with it. I'm not saying that we were in the title race at all, but all you want is if a miracle were to happen that Rangers would be there or thereabouts. It's blatantly clear that we don't have the team, we don't have the squad, we don't have the depth in the team to sustain any form of consistency. And if you're not consistent, you'll not be there or thereabouts should the opportunity be presented to you. We are so far away from that. We really are. I'm at the point with Clement that I'm kind of not went back on myself. I started to think maybe we'll see a kind of turning point. Maybe we were on that corner where I thought we were seeing improvements with Danilo coming back into the team, with Hadji even coming back into the team. Even those Hadji stats, again, you can put a case forward for that and say he hasn't really contributed apart from looking busy, but it's better than Tom Lawrence doing nothing really, or maybe playing for 40 minutes and then being absolutely knackered. I think Hadji's one that never hides, and you never know what might come off. I still think we've got more out of Hadji than we would have out of Tom Lawrence in that position. But as I say, we're at a stage where the players that he was playing, the players that the thing that he was doing, that we were getting to see improvements. We've just kind of slowly reclined back to where we are, to where we are now, in a performance that we've seen all too many times, and a performance that doesn't shock us. I think we're at a stage now where the club have a decision to make. I think they've got a decision to make about what they do and what they're going to communicate to the fans. Being 12 points behind on Boxing Day is not good. I seen a stat earlier. Bill was 7 points. Gio was 9 points. Clement's now 12. It's a failure of a weekend. It's a failure of a league fixture, even as you can possibly imagine. It didn't work from start to bottom. It didn't work, and it's a one that's left us all a wee bit frustrated, I think. Anyway, just before I go on any further, and I'll speak about Clement's comments after the game, I just need to take a pause just now to hear a word from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Manscaped, the global leader in men's lifestyle and grooming. Introducing Manscaped's newest innovation, the Chairman Pro, the game-changing tool that brings the luxury of a professional shave right into your home. Whether you're after that daily, silky smooth finish or prefer to maintain a rugged 5 o'clock shadow, their Chairman Pro electric foil shaver is your go-to for precision and style every time. Head over to manscaped.com and join over 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by using the code CLUBAT22 for 20% off and free shipping. You have the skin-safe full blade foil for that close, smooth shave when you're looking to go completely clean. And if a clean shave isn't your style, just switch to the skin-safe stubble trimmer to keep your stubble looking sharp and polished. The Chairman Pro comes with unique Flex Adjust technology, helping you maintain great contact with your skin at every angle. And here's something that's going to make your grooming routine even easier. The Chairman Pro is waterproof. The Chairman Pro is so powerful it can tackle up to a 5-day growth, making it perfect whether you're shaving every day or just tidying up after a few days. Get the Chairman Pro today and experience a shave that is as smooth as you deserve. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code CLUBAT22 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code CLUBAT22 at manscaped.com. Thank you to Manscaped for their continued support of this podcast. Thank you everybody that used our code over Christmas as well. Very, very much appreciated when you use our code. You're supporting this podcast. So I can't thank you enough for doing so. I say it all the time, but the stuff is genuinely brilliant. The stuff is absolutely superb. So yes, head over to Manscaped, use our code, get yourself 20% off. I'd imagine they've probably got some Boxing Day, it's the day after Boxing Day. You know what I mean? Boxing Day sales and all that. I'd imagine they've got something running. So head over and check that out. I actually got my stepdad. I got him a Clubman Pro actually. That one advertising. That's me not making that up. I got him one of them for his Christmas, so and he was delighted about it because he loves this stuff as well. So I got him one of them. So head over to Manscaped and get yourself kitted out in Manscaped stuff indeed. So yes, chat. I'll jump into a few of your comments just before I going to go into what Clement was speaking about after the game. I've seen Buffalo Albert saying, anyone think we could have put a real challenge this year is kidding themselves. That lot are signing record signings and we are cutting back. We need to strap in for the long haul. To be honest, I think there is something in that. I don't think I ever thought that we were actually going to get back into a title challenge. I think I genuinely thought that we could show up on the cup final, as we kind of showed that we could show up and give a good game, give ourselves a chance, and we were a penalty kick and an awful non-penalty awarded that away from winning that cup. Don't get me wrong, but ultimately we didn't win it. So we are we if we'd have won that, then things might be different now. It looks like that's took the stuffing out a little bit. However, that's down to the manager. It's down to the players. It's down to them to respond to that. It's the mentality of this team. It's the thing we've seen from this. It's the second best is okay mentality that seeps into the club from time to time that really I just can't get on board with and I never will. I've mentioned previously, and I'm not full on at that just now, but I just get the fear sometimes that the standards of our club is slowly slipping away from us. And you all know what I mean by that. You all know what I mean by that. Second will never be acceptable, and I generally don't think it ever should be acceptable at Rangers. But from time to time, it does feel like that's beginning to happen. With the board saying that when we got rid of Michael Beale, when they got rid of Gio, that the performances and the results were not up to standard, then what is this? Like, what is this? It's only Clement that's coming out and saying, this is the project, this is a project, blah, 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 over his kind of timing by blah, blah, blah. You know that I'm sick of listening to Clement after defeats because he rumbles on and wobbles a lot of stuff. Kind of like me tonight, I suppose, but it is difficult to talk yourself for over half an hour or so. But the as I say, I don't think we were ever going to be at a point where I thought we were in a title challenge. But I just wanted to close the gap, just build on what would happened, and literally that last night's performance has just ripped that carpet right out underneath us all. And we're just kind of left again, standing going, right, we're back in this trough again. It's very frustrating. Obviously, there's now calls for Clement to go. I've seen a lot of people saying that. I do think we are delaying the inevitable. I do believe that we are delaying the inevitable. I think it's going to happen one way or another. These next two games could be the end of it. I think last night was a pretty damaging chapter in the Clement's Rangers career, because I think a lot of people now are just absolutely sick to the back teeth of it, and rightly so. Absolutely rightly so. But Pete Lawrence has said, would I like to see somebody like McInnes? And I say all the time when we talk about who potentially replaces Clement that it's not really my job to think about who the next Rangers manager is. And I don't mean that in like a blasé kind of way. I just mean when Clement was linked with the Rangers job, he wasn't even in my thinking when I thought about who the next Rangers manager should be. So that in itself, there's no point in me kind of scouring the managerial market thinking who would be best for us, because ultimately it'll be someone that's maybe a wee bit kind of left field with somebody like McInnes. And it's no disrespect to McInnes, he's never had a consistent period. There's always been real bumps in the road for him. He's done well with teams, don't get me wrong, and he's managed to organise teams, get good results, make them difficult to beat, and then play some decent attacking football. But it does always seem to falter off and kind of drop off an edge. With McInnes being who he is and the fact that he's played with the club, I can see the appetite for it. I can understand the appetite for it. I would like someone to be able to come in and make sure that we are difficult to beat, that we're well set up, that we're not going to concede daft goals or silly goals. But it would be a risk, in my opinion, to bring somebody like McInnes in. However, on the flip side of that, we are at the point now where we've tried foreign managers and they didn't work. Gio and Clement are kind of proof of that just now, that they haven't really worked in modern times anyway. Obviously, you can go back to Pedro if you like, but hasn't really worked. Gerrard worked. It took time for Gerrard's to work. Don't get me wrong, but he got the time and he got he got the opportunity in order to build the team, because it was what we knew from the start was going to be the case. Because everybody was on the same page. When you've got someone like in charge like Dave King, who will openly speak, freely speak, if you like, about what we're doing and how we're going to do it, etc., then it's a lot easier for fans to accept and to get on board with. Whereas we have a board now still that are silent. Really, we've got a lot of guys that it's a faceless board that we have, to an extent where we don't really have anyone that's going to come out and tell us exactly what this plan is. And that kind of leads me on to who the Clement's reaction even after the game. Clement come out. He always comes out after the game, and it's a bad defeat, and he'll immediately jump on the project. He'll say this squad that he has. My worry is that he believes the way that he talks about this squad is like it doesn't need a complete, not a complete clear out, but it's not far off it now. There's too many of them that are not going to meet the standards required to be a Rangers player, or for what we need. So the likes of Proper, for example, he's not going to be good enough for us. I don't think. Yeah, I think he's one we should be looking to move on. Obviously, the age-old debate about Tavernier will come back in. He's now looks like he will play every single game the remainder of this season, as long as he stays fit, because we literally don't have an option there. Because now Sterling is being used as a centre half. Moving forward, you go into what? Lawrence, you go into Hadji potentially, guys you could maybe recruit money on. Dessers, again, not bashing him. The guy shouldn't be here anymore. He has to go. These are the guys that we need to be looking to move on. And whether we move them on for money or not, or decent money or not, I think it's just at the point now where we have to do it, because we're going to get held back by these players. These are the players that are not good enough. Hadji for me is a wee bit debatable, just because I've liked what I've seen from him in terms of the energy that he will bring. But it's in comparison to Lawrence, for example, that's kind of where I'm comparing that. But we're at a point now where these players just have to be moved out. Kieran Dowell as well. How could I possibly forget? Guys like Matondo as well. Matondo's been decent in spells, scored that goal, yes, but I've never thought he was really good enough. But we need to move him on. We've got players that we've committed to. Bajrami, Cortez, these are guys that we have committed to. Egerman, we've committed to them, so we're going to have to develop them. Jeffy as well, we're going to have to commit to them. We're going to have to develop them. Yilmaz, for me, again, has not really worked out for him since he came back. Again, the pressure's probably on him. The fact that Jeffy looks very much like our starting left back now, and he doesn't really get can I say, he doesn't really get a look in. So we're at the point now where the players that we have invested in, unfortunately, we're going to need to develop them as best we can and move them on. But it's the other players now that are hangers on us, maybe, I suppose, and ones that have been wrong decisions, like Dow, like Proper, should never have been brought to the club in the first place, that we have to just move these guys on. We have to almost start afresh. I'm at the point now where I think the club have to come out and tell us what's going on, tell us what this season looks like. In my opinion, Clement will probably get the rest of this season. Whether we all like that or not, I think that's probably going to be the case. I reckon he'll be here the rest of this season as Patrick Stewart comes in and tries to kind of figure out where we're going to go. But the club should be saying, oh, I don't know if they can come out and say that because what benefit is there in it, I suppose, but maybe it will buy Clermont some time that we are very much in the point where we are evaluating, if you like, the full managerial structure at the club because nobody's saying it's a project apart from Clermont. Clermont's the only guy that comes out and says this is a project with this young squad, blah, 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 blah. Have to use rotation because of the games coming up, but he's the guy that tells us we don't look past the next game. So there's a lot of contradiction stuff in what he says, and I don't really like much that Clermont comes out and says. It doesn't really ever give me confidence that I know what he's that I know what he's. I think well, I get the idea that I know what he's doing. I think he very much is a bit lost by it, and I think the club. My opinion, the club should be looking to recruit a new manager as soon as possible. We are now going to enter this window with Clermont as the manager and Niles Coppin doing the kind of recruitment, which will already be underway. There'll already be talks happening. But again, if we drop points on Sunday, I'm just saying, if we drop points on Sunday, Celtic come to Ibrox and beat us in the second, then what do we do? Do we just accept that that's okay, that we end up 15, whatever points we can be behind? At that point, what 15 odd points at the start of January? I don't think anybody at the club can accept that. I don't think anybody at the club can turn around and say that's been a positive season, project or not. It hasn't worked. There's enough players within that team to do the job. To do the job might not be pretty at times, but there's enough of them. And my thinking right now is that Clermont isn't getting a tune out of them, not for a consistent period of time. There are so many contributing factors to the state that we are in just now. But I think now the club have to come out and be as transparent as they can, as transparent as they can be without flinging everybody under the bus. Because I don't think that really achieves a great deal. But I think they have to now. We have to be planning for the future. The season is pretty much done. I know we've still got a chance in Europe, and again, Rangers will probably show up and play all right in Europe because the age-old argument again of is Clermont's tactics more suitable for Europe than they are for domestic football. Who knows? But we are at the point now where the league won't happen, and there's absolutely zero chance of that. Even if we do win on Sunday and we do somehow win on the second, then we get back to 9 points. It's still 9 points in January. That's still too much, in my opinion. I don't think there's any great danger in us getting anywhere near it. And then it's only really the Scottish Cup to go on. And can we honestly say that we would believe that this squad won't have another blip in the road, even in the cup competition? Because I don't think we can. We've got no confidence in the team to sustain a consistent run of results. And the period that we had there, with the 6-0 against Kilmarnock, etc., the game against Nice and whatever, we've seen improvements and we've seen things being better. But I still say from the weekend's game there, I don't think that was very good. I know there was kind of two camps. Some said, oh, we should have been out of sight, but it really was mostly down to the chances that we created towards the end of the game. But just watching it, I was going, that wasn't very good. I didn't really enjoy it. I mean, you try to give them the benefit of the doubt and hope that you're not thinking to yourself that you can win every game 6-0 or whatever. But then it's cemented really in your head that after last night. And that's the real concern for me, is that we could, any opportunity we get to even close the gap, even slightly, we fail at it. And it's a consistent thing. It's not a one-off. We've seen it so many times. And it's hard. It really is. And some people will say, oh, you're kind of contradicting yourself now because of what I said after Clermont started to get a run of results. It's because it's tough work to sit and watch your team do that all the time. So when you get a bit of positivity, you've got to grab onto it, because it's not tough to sit here and constantly rip the team apart and rip the board apart and rip the manager apart. But right now, again, but I just feel the sooner that Patrick Stewart gets a proper grip on the club and really takes the reins and decides what direction this club are going in, the better. And he's going to have to translate it all to the fans. We need to know now what's going on, because everybody's watched that last night and went, nah, he's not the guy for me. I don't believe anybody can put up a really solid argument now that Clement is the long term manager of Rangers. So we have to be looking to using all our resources as possible to build for the future now. And look, if we have to get rid of players in the January window, which we do, bring in a few players. Again, who are we going to attract when we're in that? I know we've still got European football and we still look like we've got a great chance, a very, very good chance of progressing. And that'll attract some players to come and play for us. There's absolutely no doubt. We have to use that. But we're not in a league race. We do obviously still in the Scottish Cup, but we're not in the league. So that will be a wee bit of a stumbling block in terms of recruiting the right players. But we, even the players that we need to get rid of, the ones I've just spoke about, we have to get rid of them. And if we have to play youth players, then play youth players. I mean, and I couldn't agree with that. I couldn't emphasise that more. That there is a few more. There must be players within our ranks that are ready to make that step up. And if we all know and we're all communicated by the board, not that we're going to be happy about it, that look, they go, and no, not in such certain words, but the league's a write off this season. We need to plan for the future. Then play these guys, give these guys a shot. So I think we're at the point that the Patrick Stewart just needs to make his decision on what way this is going to go and communicate it to the fans. Get rid of the deadwood, get rid of the guff that's in the team. Play youth if we need to. Make a couple of signings, hopefully that add quality, and you try and salvage as much as you can domestically now. And as long as we get an idea of what direction that is, what the club's plans are, what the board's plans are, be it with Clement, be it without Clement, then we have to know. And they have to communicate that to us. It's a difficult one. It's difficult. It's difficult to sit here, as I say, for 40 minutes and just kind of be so negative about it all after what was a wee bit of positivity, but ultimately I'm not angry at it. I'm just frustrated by it more than anything else because I knew it was going to happen. We all knew it was. Whether you didn't want to admit it to yourself, you just kind of knew it was going to happen. So yeah, unfortunately, it's where we find ourselves just now. And if it was me, I would sack Clement tomorrow, by the way, just so you all know. I've decided him yesterday, I decided him last night, I decided him this morning. Just so you all know where I am at, I would have went, that's enough. You are not going to do. We'll get somebody else, even with this squad that we do have. But right now, I don't see the club doing that. I really don't. That leads me on to Sunday. As we take on Motherwell again away at Fir Park. 3 o'clock, I think, on Sunday. Somebody in the chat will correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure it's 3 o'clock on Sunday. And yeah, I'm left going, what Rangers will I see on Sunday? Because right now you don't know. And that's a problem. That's a problem in itself, is that you can't really make a kind of valued assessment, a kind of proper prediction about what you're going to see from this Rangers team on Sunday, because I honestly don't know. I've got no real clue. Again, it's not a kind of scapegoat excuse, really. But again, if anybody can predict what we'll see, and I know there'll be a lot that will say, "Oh, we'll drop points," and I do get that. I'm still thinking to myself, right, this is the Rangers that we're seeing just now. But I think we need to. Well, I think we all need to hope that it's not a continuation and we somehow snap out of it. There you go. I've just seen Scott B put up 1-1 on Sunday. Look, again, I get that. I do 100% get it. Honestly, I do. I just think it's I think he's right. I think he's spot on. I do very much have that feeling that it will be one each. But we have to go into Sunday and get a bounce. And I've said it so many bloody times that we get a reaction from this team. What we need to do is play for at least 75 minutes of the game. Make sure the game's out of sight before we have our moment in the game, which will inevitably come. It does for all teams. It's very rare that a team goes through an entire 90 minutes without not being at their absolute peak. And I'm not even really saying Rangers need to be at their peak, but we just need to be in the game and play a bit and have intent, have tempo, and believe that we can go out and play and beat these teams. Motherwell will make it difficult. They're in the top 6 now. Motherwell, they're going all right, to be fair. They're doing not bad at all. They'll be a difficult team to beat. We know that will be the case. But just a performance for longer than 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. But it has to be more than that. It does have to be more than that. We have to do better in games. We have to be more consistent in games. We have to prolong our the quality bits that we have in the game and not wait till the second half to get a reaction, because we're all sick to the back teeth of seeing that. So to predict what's going to happen is really difficult, but that's what I think has to happen. And the starting 11 is you play your best 11 players. You have to. Clement has to learn from what happened to him last night, and not just rotate the team for the top for the sake of it. We deal with every game as it comes, and yeah, for right now, we don't have a squad. As I've said about 4 times now on this pod, we don't have a squad good enough to maintain any sort of consistent performances. With the squad depth that we have, so he can't afford to make rotations. He really can't afford to make rotations. So I'd love to be able to sit here and say I'm confident in a Rangers win. Honestly, I've got no idea. I really don't. I don't think anybody can hand on their heart really say that they would expect Rangers to come out and win, but they might. Rangers might come out and win 4 or 5-0, and it'll be that peaks and trough thing that we're currently going through under this management with this squad. So yeah, it's a difficult one, but I'm not a particularly betting man. I never bet on Rangers, but if I did, I wouldn't be putting a Rangers win on, because that's how unpredictable they are. It really is as simple as that. So my team, it's difficult. No, it's not really that difficult, to be honest. Just play your best 11. I don't think Butland will get dropped. I've seen a few people saying that play Kelly. What happens if it happens to Kelly and we've dropped Butland? Do you know what I mean? So it's all about. I think Kelly would be fine. Whether Butland needs a bit of time off because he's just had a kid or whatever, then maybe. But I wouldn't. I don't think he would drop. I don't think he'll drop Butland for this game. So I think it'll be Butland, Tavernier. It'll be Sterling and Proper. I don't think he'll bring Balogun in, even if Balogun is fit. Jeff Day at left back, Raskin, Diomande, Hadji, Danilo, Agaman, and Tierney. I don't think there'll be much differing starting 11s from any of the guys or from anybody in the chat. I wouldn't be shocked if there's any real great change in it. That's probably the best is what we have just now. But he has to just play the best players that we have available and the guys that are currently in form. So that's the team that I would go with. My score prediction, I will always say a Rangers win, and if we can play for longer than 20 minutes in the game and we start better, then we should be winning the game. But it's a difficult one to try and predict. I'll go for 2-1 Rangers, and I'll go for Danilo to continue his scoring from Thursday, and I'll go for Danilo to score first. I just want to see Rangers playing football for longer than 10 minutes. That would be really nice to see, and for this not to become the slump that we've had the whole way through the start of this season before we got to the purple patch in inverted commas. So yeah, I just hope Rangers snap out of this the best as they can. But I say I'm not holding up massive hope. Bet you're all glad you tuned in to listen to my positivity at this time on a Friday night. But that'll do me for tonight. I've rambled on for 47 minutes now. Look, I appreciate everybody for tuning in and for sticking with me. I'm sorry I didn't get to your comments. It is difficult to do, to be able to speak, keep your train of thought and read comments at the same time. So I thank you. I thank you all for getting involved. I really do appreciate it. And I will speak to you on Sunday after the game. If you could like the video, subscribe to the channel before you go, that would be absolutely superb. And again, yeah, I just thank you all from the bottom of my heart for tuning in. I hope you all genuinely did have a good Christmas. I know Rangers like to ruin things and they ruined your Boxing Day, but I genuinely hope you all had a very, very good Christmas and you're all looking forward to the new year as well. But yes, take care, everybody, and try and enjoy your weekend before Rangers ruin your weekend on Sunday. And I will be back. At least me will be back. I think I'd imagine Ali will probably be on with me on Sunday. But I will bring you a reaction one way or another on Sunday. So yes, thank you to everybody. And we will, as I say, we'll be back on Sunday. We are Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. Have an enjoyable Friday evening, and yeah, speak to you all Sunday. Cheers, everybody.